back to the second installation of the citation. I'm trying to do the citations in somewhat of an order, but I'm also trying to break them up so that if you need a citation for a book, a journal, or a website, you'll be able to find them more readily. So we're going to get right into citations for websites. Last post I said that the citations is incredibly important because citations are giving credit where credit is due, and it's also basing your arguments, your historical arguments, on what is essentially what you're assuming is truth. You weren't here in the 10th century. I wasn't here in the 10th century. I might have been here in the 10th century, but you weren't here in the 10th century. And so what we have to consider is that everything we know about the past is based on primary documentation, based on evidence that has been carefully considered, carefully thought through, and now we can take those pieces as truth. And we have to trust those pieces as truth, because if we don't trust those pieces as truth, we can say that nothing is real. We get a whole philosophical argument about this. But long story short, citation is a way of both giving credit to the author, credit to the people that did the work, and also it very much supports the work that you do. And so with no further ado, we're going to pull right into the citation. So I'm going to get myself real small in the corner here. Well, I guess I'll get myself real small in the corner here, not the other thing. So I get real small right in the corner, and if I get really small, I get a little like this. Now I'm going to get a little bit bigger. All right. So here we are at the skill builder for Module 1, Skill Builder 1.1, how to build a citation. And I built this citation on a journal that we did last post. This time we're going to do a website. I was streaming through. I found this website that I absolutely love. It's so funny, and it's so good. And honestly, a lot of these websites are actually made by like graduate students. So we're not looking at like top-notch people in terms of the professional historians here. But I love this. It talks about the destruction power of the trebuchet being effective way, way before most people consider it to be effective. And then it says this piece right here that I feel like is incredibly important. It talks about the physics of the trebuchet using gravity as being more effective than just torsion. So starting to actually involve physics and into the world of technology was a massive innovation here. And I'm not going to get too far into that because I want you to get that far into it. But what I'm saying is that I want to use that in my paper. I want to cite that. And so if I'm going to cite that, I need to go through the process of citation. So we're going to go back into here, back into the class, and here we have Module 1.1, History of the Trebuchet. We answered our unanswerable question, meaning that if you're getting to this video, if you're getting to this piece, then you've already done that, you've unlocked this part. We've contributed to the discourse in a meaningful way, and now we're working on gathering and interrogating sources from the information, or from the internet. Information from the information net on the information superhighway. All right, so gather and interrogate information in the information brings us into this world of needing to make citations. And so I put this back in the resources section because you're going to use this for almost every single module, and pretty soon you're not going to need to go back to it. But before we get to the resources needed and the student-made resources and this video that will end up in this section right here, we get down to the processing historical research. And we're going to do his citation machine for websites. We're going to click on that, and that's going to bring up basically a tool that helps us build proper citations without having to go through the arduous work of getting into the manuals and all that happy stuff that personally I find to be extremely valuable later on in your history career. Right now, it's good enough for me that you made a proper citation. And if you need a tool to do it, fine with that. If you have another way, also fine with that. There's a lot of citation machines out there. This is the one I prefer to use because I've been using it for a long time, and it seems to not fail me so often. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this website, and we're going to start taking a look at not just the fact we want to see, because that's like the bottom of a funnel. citation kind of takes that bottom of a funnel and it raises it up to talk about where that information came from, why we should trust the source. And the reason I'm using this very specific site is because you're going to find a lot more sites are like this site that doesn't have all the information that you would normally want in a citation. And I would say that is a problem. So we can see right up here, it's hosted by Brown University. So if you don't know how to read a URL, that is the domain. Brown.edu is who published it. Are they trustworthy? No, typically. But you got to run it down the chain, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to say article of the title. Well, that's usually somewhere at the top. And like I said, this is a cool website. This goes all into, we talked about the old trebuchets, like this trebuchet, which honestly, if we were live in class, oh my goodness, would we do this thing. Let me go over to the top. I'm going to say part 1, siege engine. That's basically the title of the article. Now, we can make arguments about what the article is, what the argument isn't, but I'm just going to take that, copy it, and paste it there. Good enough for me. Now, contributors. We actually don't have any contributors. I looked around. I came over here into the bar where it talked about where it was published and why it was published. I came down here and all the way to the bottom of the website, which is a great way to put it, and it says, "Hi Willie, the image of the various trebuchets in different eras should be referenced." And they're absolutely correct. However, kid doesn't have his name on it, so it's hard for me to cite this. But we do have some evidence here that we're going to use, and so we're just going to skip that part. And it's unfortunate, but if we want to use this, we will. And the reason this is a problem is because if people are not willing to put their name on their work, especially professionals, if they're not willing to tie their name to their work, it's probably not worth citing. If I publish something, I want to put my reputation on the line with it. And so if I'm wrong, you can consider me an unprofessional. But if I'm right, I want credit for that as well. And so we're going to say, all right, so the website title, we're going to get back into this. And this is kind of difficult. You actually do have to kind of find it. So the website title is 13 things. But that doesn't really tell us a whole lot. So we're going to hold on to this. We're going to take this, we're going to put it in here, and we might change it in a little bit. Because looking for websites, consider a web page as just a page in a maybe book. And so you can't expect all this information to be on every single page of the book, and so you have to go back and look at the other thesis. So we are going to take the URL of this particular page. And the nice part about that is we don't have to make a page reference within that book. So we're going to post this, and then we really don't know what year it was either, which is kind of a problem. So we're going to come up and down here, and we might be able to do some interesting research, but as of right now, we really kind of know that this is either 13 things in 2009 or 13 things in 2008. So let's see what we can find out, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to kind of the home pages and see what this thing looks like. So if we go back to 2009, we're going to see what class this is from. And this is the home page of this class. So it looks like archaeological material culture, science, studies, and design is the 13 page. So we're going to actually take that, go back into our citation, and we're going to say this is more the website title. It's a little bit longer. All right, so this is with Krista Zowski. So this is a professor at Brown, and we can see that by reading the context of it. So we're going to go ahead and say that the publisher and sponsor is her. And let's see, it's a course that they're taking at Brown University, and Brown University ultimately published this website. So what we can do is we can say Brown University. All right, and we did find out that this was in 2009 because we looked through the projects here, and we can see that this is the 2009 projects. And so we're going to publish that as 2009. And what we're going to do down here is we're going to say use today's date. And that should be good enough for us. All right, last thing we're going to do is complete citation. Ooh, interesting. So here's what we have to do. We actually have to clear our cache in order to take a look at this, but we're going to view the sponsored message, and we'll be back in a slash. Ooh, I'm 30, I'm a little over 35. I guess I'm in this group. Oh, wow. So, long story short, the citation.
Where are you?
Did you hear about these new Geico savings?
Mom?
You'll get
I'll
an
say
extra
that the
15%
website
on top of what
citation
Geico
is
could already
incredibly
save you.
difficult.
There's never been a better time to
I
save
don't
with
want
Geico.
to
Next
push
time, let's
you
do a
guys
face
out
call.
of using websites that you find to be credible, especially if they're published by some sort of university or some sort of government agency, because they're poorly cited on the site. It's going to hinder you in the long run, and I don't want to do that. But truthfully, at the end of the day, it is going to be important to, I don't know, to say that you can cite your sources in such a way that you're using credible, reliable, valid sources. And it's kind of the nature of where we are. So I'm going to pull you back over because my advertising is done and I can get off my soapbox for a little bit. Get small in the corner here. And we have two options here, right? We have this part 1 and part 2. And so what we're going to do is we're looking at Chicago style, and this would typically be the thing that goes at the end of a paper, on an end note, which is important because that tells you the reader what they're doing. And then in your bibliography, you would put something longer like this. So I'm going to copy this first citation, which is the part that I want right now. Don't worry about the whole bibliography piece. This is the part that I want. And then I'm going to go back into my paper, take it, paste it. That didn't work. Back into my website, take this, citation copied, maybe incomplete because we didn't get the name. Copy it. And we're going to try this one more time, and it's going to fail again. It's going to be embarrassing. Yeah, of course. So, 3 buttons, copy citation, and we're going to see if this works out for us one more time. One of those things about technology is that it doesn't always work. When you make a long video on this kind of stuff, it says it's copied, it's not copied. And copy the footnote. There we go. I'm a fool. I'm a total fool. This is my earlier one. I was logged in earlier. I didn't even read the title. There's a big difference between a footnote and a bibliography in Chicago style. I didn't even see it. Like a fool. Alright, copy the citation. And I hope this goes to show you that, honestly, a lot of this stuff can be frustration. And it's working through it, solving the problems, going back and check things. All right. All this being said, I struggle sometimes, and I know you struggle sometimes, and I hope that I don't make things look so clean that you think that it's undoable. So, that being said, I'd like you to get a citation here, and next up, we're going to move on to historically think.